This is how to answer the interview question. Describe yourself in 3 words. First, I'm going to tell you what not to say when you're asked this interview question. Then I'm going to give you the overall answer structure that you should be following when you need to answer this interview question. And then lastly, I'm going to tell you what to say and even give you some sample example words that I like if you can't think of anything when you're on the spot. And if you want more career tips or interviewing tips just like this, make sure you click subscribe down below. All right, let's just dive on in. What should you not say when they ask you the interview question, describe yourself in 3 words? Well, you definitely should not describe yourself with any generic, boring, soft skills. So you should not describe yourself with any of the words like smart, hardworking, enthusiastic, professional, motivated. These are all really boring, generic words that don't really help separate you from any other candidate and don't show you how you are valuable to this company. Remember, with any interview question, your goal is to be memorable and to stand out. And you won't do that if you pick generic, fluffy, boring words like collaborative and things just like that. Alright, so now that you know what not to say when you're asked this interview question, let's talk about what your overall answer structure should look like. Well, first, you're going to just tell them what the 3 words are that you would use to describe yourself. Then, you're going to go back to each one of them individually, and you're going to explain why you chose that word, what it means, and how it relates to this job in the overall context. Then you're going to wrap up your answer by giving at least one relatively quick example, less than 1 minute, that demonstrates 1 or 2 of these traits so that you can actually show them that you weren't lying and that you have these actual qualities. The biggest mistake is that people don't share an example and they just give 3 words and then their answer becomes very, very short. So with that answer structure in mind, what should you actually say, right? Like what are the 3 words that you should pick to describe yourself? Well, I think 2 of those words should be role related or demonstrate skills or attributes or experiences that are highly relevant to the role that you're applying for. And the last one should be either a soft skill or something that is revolving around your values. So what are some examples of those 2 technically related words that you should use to describe yourself? Well, if you're applying for a technical role, the word you may want to use is data-driven. Or if you're applying for a sales role, you may want to describe yourself as competitive or resilient. If you're applying for a service-related job, you may want to describe yourself as patient or customer-centric. And if you're applying for a managerial role or a role where you would have direct reports, you may want to describe yourself as transformational or compassionate. So now that you have your first 2 role-related words, your last word should be either soft skills based or something around your values. And for this, you're going to want to do some research about the company. You're going to want to read their mission statement, look at the company's overall values, or see if they have leadership principles like Amazon does. Basically, you want to get a sense of the company's overall culture and then pick words that would help best demonstrate and show that you fit into that culture. So if you know the company culture really values feedback, both upwards and downwards, you may want to describe yourself as open or evolving or open to feedback. If you've heard that this team actually has high turnover, you may want to describe yourself as loyal. If you know the company has more of a top-down management approach, then you may want to describe yourself as decisive. And if you're applying for a startup or a pre-IPO company, you're going to want to describe yourself as flexible, a self-starter, or self-motivated. Because if you're working for a smaller company, you're probably going to be wearing multiple hats, doing multiple different roles and jobs. And they're going to want to know that you are okay with that. Now, if you've gone through all of these exercises and tips and you still can't think of 3 words to describe yourself, I'm now going to give you a few words that I really like that anyone can probably use for almost any type of job at any different company. But make sure you're able to explain why you're choosing these words in your answer and make sure you have a really good example that demonstrates how this applies to you. Also, as a quick bonus tip, all these words that I'm about to give you are going to be really good for your resume and even your elevator pitch. So don't be afraid to use them there either. If you're really stuck, you can always use words like strategic, customer-centric, innovative, curious, dependable, honest, data-driven, transformational, competitive, decisive, evolving, resourceful, or flexible. So now you know how to answer one of the trickiest interview questions out there, which is describe yourself in 3 words. And even if they were to pick a different number, like 1 word or 5 words, you should still follow the exact same approach and blueprint. And if you need to, you can use some of the words that we already discussed in this video. Let us know what other tricky interview questions have you been getting so that I can make a video about it so that we all can learn together. Drop that in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one.